Hello there guys and welcome back to 100% Chelsea for another part of the international watch. And this was the last international break until March of next year. And obviously this week the playoffs for the World Cup were being played both in Europe and between other parts of the world. In Africa there were still group stage games of the World Cup qualifier going on, but mostly there were a lot of friendlies. As of right now, 31 out of 32 teams taking part in the World Cup in Russia next year have been found, as Peru will face New Zealand tonight in the last playoff game. The first leg ended 0-0 in New Zealand. This time around actually fewer Chelsea players than usual went out on international duty, which is obviously great for us as more players got some rest, but I'll obviously get into when I talk about the individual teams who was called up and who wasn't. Now let's start off with the European playoffs. And probably the biggest shock result, as Italy were beat by Sweden by 1-0 on aggregate. Davide Zappacosta was called up but didn't feature in either of the two games, as Italy lost 1-0 in Sweden through an incredibly lucky deflection goal for the Swedes. As the second tie was played in the San Siro in Milan, Italy were held to a 0-0 draw, with Sweden defending more than we bloody did in Munich, which says something. I am part Italian, so did want Italy to go through, but, you know, it wasn't to be. The Italians just weren't very good. It's just quite simple as. The manager made some very odd decisions by not even bringing Lorenzo Insigne of Napoli on in the home leg. The ref certainly didn't help either, as he denied the Italians several clear-cut penalties. To be fair, also Sweden should have had a penalty away in Italy. But the sad thing for me was not just that Davide Zappacosta wasn't going to the World Cup. To be honest, I don't really care. But the sad thing for me was Gigi Buffon. One of the best, if not the best goalkeeper of all time, has retired from international football, and he will probably retire from football as a whole at the end of the season. He has retired with 175 caps for his country and obviously the World Cup title in 2006, and all I can say really, grazie Gigi, grazie per tutto. The only other Chelsea player involved in the European playoffs was Andreas Christensen with Denmark, who faced the Republic of Ireland. Andreas Christensen was an unused sub in the first leg, played in Denmark, which ended 0-0. Weird thing is that the guy playing ahead of him is Andreas Bjelland, I think is how you pronounce it, from Brentford, which is quite odd that he's playing ahead of Christensen. I think so anyway, but the manager obviously has his reasons, I suppose. Then in the second leg, Christensen did start the game, but as right back, as Denmark's first choice, right back Dalsgaard, funnily enough, also of Brentford, missed the game with injury. Ireland took the lead, but Christensen did get the equaliser with a header after a corner, although in my opinion that was more of an own goal as Christensen hit the post and then from an Irish player's leg it went over the line. Then Christian Eriksen, Spurs player, not too happy about that bit, turned it up by scoring 3 unbelievable goals, and, you know, fair play to him, I have to admit. Before the Lord, Niklas Bentner finished Irish off from the penalty spot as Denmark won the game 5-1 and obviously convincingly are going to the World Cup rather than Ireland, which I am quite sad about. I've lived in Ireland for 6 months when I was 16, so I always like Ireland. I would have loved them to go through, but, you know, they just weren't good enough. The other two European playoffs finished as follows. Switzerland beat Northern Ireland 1-0 over 2 legs with a very, very controversial penalty. And Croatia went through over Greece, beating them 4-1 at home in the first leg and drawing 0-0 in Greece. The other Chelsea players out on international duty this week only played in friendlies, as Victor Moses missed Nigeria's last game of the qualifiers due to injury, and also their friendly, in which they beat Argentina 4-2 after being 2-0 down already. And yes, I know, Ola Aina was called up and is part of the Nigerian squad, but he isn't part of the Chelsea squad at the moment, obviously being out on loan at Hull, and the video would just get too long, and Nigeria have secured qualification before this international break anyway. But now talking about the other Chelsea first team, as they were out on international duty, starting off with Belgium. As usual, Eden Hazard, Thibaut Courtois and Michy Batshuayi were called up, but between Monday and Wednesday of last week, Michy Batshuayi picked up a foot injury and returned to Cobham to start treatment. There haven't been any clear reports as to how long Batshuayi will be out for and as to how serious the injury is. I guess we'll have to wait for Antonio Conte's press conference on Friday to find out more about that. Belgium played 2 games, as most but not all teams did this week. First, they drew 3-3 against Mexico, with Eden Hazard scoring the opener as he played 86 minutes on the day and Thibaut Courtois playing the full game in goal. The second game was a 1-0 win over Japan, but Eden Hazard was left out of the squad completely, which is great, so he can get some rest, and also Courtois remained on the bench. Now coming to Spain, Alvaro Morata was the only Spanish Chelsea player to be called up this week, so none of Azpilicueta, Pedro, Fabregas or Alonso had to go away, which maybe they don't like on a personal level, but it's certainly good for Chelsea as they basically had 2 weeks rest with obviously some training, but also some days off to go away. There was a minor injury scare for Morata early last week, as he had to finish a training session early with a toe problem, which turned out not to be a big deal at all, as Morata started and scored in Spain's 5-0 victory over Costa Rica. Morata actually scored the second goal and was taken off at half-time. Morata was then an unused sub in Spain's second game, a 3-3 draw against Russia. Ethan Ampadu, obviously the young Welshman, was called up to the Welsh first team squad and was actually used by coach Chris Chris Coleman as the young Chelsea Welshman came on in the 64th minute in Wales' 2-0 defeat to France. Conte and Bakayoko weren't called up. Conte because he just came back from injury, and Bakayoko I think he's just not being selected. And actually, Ethan Ampadu made his full debut in Wales' 1-1 draw at home against Panama. And he got to play 67 minutes. So, you know, congratulations to Ethan Ampadu to that. Obviously a great achievement at that age. Now coming to England, starting off with Danny Drinkwater, who reportedly told manager Gareth Southgate that he isn't fit enough to join up with the squad. And Chelsea only released a statement after those news came out, saying Drinkwater picked up a minor knock on that calf that kept him out for so long during his sub-appearance against Manchester United. But yeah, whether he just didn't want to join up or would rather try to impress Conte training or was actually minorly injured, I don't know, and I don't really care. You know, the media have made a big fuss about it. Why is Drinkwater refusing to play for England? I don't think he has, to be honest. I think it was just a minor knock. I think he would just prefer to get fully fit and actually get a spot in the Chelsea team. I think that's more important to him than just playing, you know, for England at some points, because even if he goes to the World Cup, he wouldn't be a starter anyway, I think. But, you know, obviously, I don't exactly know. Gary Cahill was also called up, but same as Morata Batshuayi, picked up an injury early last week. I'm not sure what exactly the injury is, but reports at the time said Cahill might miss our game against West Bromwich this weekend. But then Cahill made the bench in both of England's games this week, but remained an unused sub. So I'm not sure if he was fit enough to play or not, or if he was just on the bench for a weird reason, but I think he should be fine. Whether he will be used or not by Antonio Conte on the weekend, different story. But more importantly, Gareth Southgate did call up Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Tammy Abraham. Obviously the two Chelsea loanees, Ruben Loftus-Cheek on loan at Crystal Palace and Tammy Abraham on loan at Swansea. And both of which started in England's 0-0 draw against Germany, as Ruben Loftus-Cheek basically impressed the whole country and won the Man of the Match award. Ruben had a very good game, as the most advanced of a three-man midfield in a 3-5-2. A video of him nutmegging both Manchester City's Leroy Sané and RB Leipzig's Marcel Halstenberg inside like 5 seconds went viral, actually, which is, you know, quite funny. But I think mainly people got overexcited just because a young English player had a good game, to be honest. Because he was good, but not as incredible as some people made it sound like, in my opinion anyway. Ruben Loftus-Cheek did play the whole game against Germany, and Tammy Abraham was subbed off in the 60th minute. Antonio Rudiger also played the full game for Germany against England, but only the second half in Germany's 2-2 draw against France a few days later. England's second game then was another 0-0 draw, this time against Brazil. Ruben Loftus-Cheek again started the game, but had to be subbed off in the 35th minute with some sort of injury. Let's hope he won't be sidelined for too long and can continue his development at Crystal Palace as soon as possible. Tammy Abraham in that game was subbed on in the 75th minute. Two defensively very impressive results for England against two very good teams, especially Brazil. Started with basically the best team they had available, as Willian was subbed on for Coutinho in the 68th minute. And a few days earlier, Willian started and played 71 minutes in Brazil's 3-1 victory over Japan, as David Luiz again wasn't called up. But yeah, like I said, two, you know, very decent performances by England, especially at the back. A lot of youngsters playing, and, you know, the country's getting excited. I'm not sure whether they're getting overexcited because before the Euros, England actually beat Germany in Berlin, and everyone was getting excited then, and we all know how the Euros went for England. But obviously, you know, we'll have to wait and see whether these young players, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Tammy Abraham, Dominic Solanke, who was called up for the second game, will actually make the squad in the summer. We'll have to wait and see. And in case you cared, my country, Austria, won their only game this international break, 2-1 against Uruguay. If only we could go to the World Cup instead of them now. But sadly we can't. But yeah, that was it from this international watch. We'll find out in Antonio Conte's press conference on Friday how long, or if at all, the likes of Batshuayi, Cahill and Drinkwater will be out for. There were also some rumours that Bakayoko had to stop a training session with some serious pain in his groin, but none of that has been confirmed as of yet, so I guess we'll also know more about that on Friday. So make sure you don't miss that preview of the West Bromwich Albion game, which will be out as soon as possible after the press conference finishes on Friday. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys did enjoy it. Leave me all of your thoughts down in the comment section below. All of the thoughts on, obviously, for example, how Ruben Loftus-Cheek did. If you want to let us know how your respective national teams did, leave it down in the comment section below as well. Leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Don't forget to check out my social media, Last1507 on Instagram and Twitter. You can see it over here. I'd massively appreciate if you follow me there. If you just want to have a chat, message me over there. I'll reply and we can have a chat. Don't forget to subscribe to 100% Chelsea either. Just click that button over there and you can subscribe. Thank you guys for watching. Buzzing the international break is over, and obviously Chelsea will be back on Saturday. Up the Chelsea, and I'll see you next time.